Hey everyone, I'm Gio. Welcome to a new episode of Games I Speak. Today
Hi.
we have Josie and we also have a special guest, John, our resident Nintendo expert.
It's a me.
um, Now, there's an issue with the camera. I think his and Josie's camera have different resolutions, so he's gonna look a little smaller. Oh, there, that's actually better. But I think it has to do with
Stop moving, John.
it has to do with the fact that he's on Wi-Fi, and Skype automatically upgrades and downgrades your resolution. So
I think
Come on, Skype.
it
you
is
should
what
go
it
into greater
is.
detail as to why this is happening.
Okay, so first up, we're gonna talk about the Nintendo Direct. So this week, everybody knows there was a Nintendo Direct, and there was a lot of stuff covered. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to briefly go over everything that was covered. There was 30 different announcements. And then I wanted us to kind of discuss, what we thought about this recent Nintendo Direct, this format compared to last year where they did a bunch of minis. So, all right, the announcements are Splatoon 3, Pira and Mithra joins the Smash roster. The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD announced. Mario Golf Super Rush. Project Triangle Strategy. Star Wars Hunters. There wasn't much on this, but it looks like a battle royale. Monster Hunter Rise. New details on that. Miitopia. Knockout City. Fall Guys Ultimate Knockdown coming to Switch. DC Superhero Girls Teen Power. That's a mouthful. Famicom Detective Club The Missing Heir and The Girl Who Stands Behind. Apex Legend coming to Switch. This actually was interesting. They must have really done some optimizations on this. Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville. Legend of Mana, finally coming to the Switch. Outer Wilds, Samurai Warriors 5, World's End Club, Animal Crossing New Horizons is getting some special Super Mario Bros. 35th anniversary items. And Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity announced some new DLC. Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection, and as far as I can tell, this is exclusive to the Switch. Capcom Arcade Stadium, No More Heroes 3, Neon White, Bravely Default 2. They released a new trailer. There's also a demo available. Tales from the Borderlands, Stubbs the Zombie and Rebel Without a Pulse. Hades is getting a physical release for the Switch. And Ninja Gaiden Master Collection was announced, and this is going to be on multiple platforms. We'll talk about this later. And Saga Frontier Remastered. So that was a lot. And so what I wanted to discuss with you all is, this past year there's been these like direct minis where they kind of break it down, right? So instead of having a big direct where they go over everything for the year that they're expected so far, they were kind of breaking it down. How many were there last year? Like 5 or 6 or something like that. It seemed like it was every month or every other month. But they would just have a small roster of games, and they would talk about, okay, every once in a while they would have an exclusive, and then it would be like, these are also some third-party games coming to the Switch. So me personally, I enjoyed this big Nintendo Direct. I like how they just let you know what you're going to get for the year. They keep the gamers informed, and they do it all in this big presentation. That's just me. What do you guys think?
John?
I actually like both types of approaches. Last year, when we didn't have, it's been, so to be clear, it's been over 530 days since we had a full fat, the one we had a couple days ago. So kind of missing out on that was you can really feel the absence of it. And then so once they started putting out these smaller indie directs, partner directs, game specific directs, I was a little disappointed with it. But the fact that they put them out on such a constant release schedule, that kind of filled the void of missing that big one. But then again, having that big one that encompasses all the games that are coming out for like a half year was something that was sorely missed and appreciated once it did actually hit.
Yeah, no, I fully agree with you on that. Josie?
I second John's opinion. I agree wholeheartedly with what he just said.
Okay.
But but at the end of the day, it really does depend on the quality of what you're seeing. And, that also informs people as to how they feel about it. So a lot of these mini directs that we've gotten most recently have been disappointing by and large because of what is being revealed. And in some ways, so was this larger direct.
Okay. Yeah, I think that was the biggest complaint from most people was they didn't like a lot of the games that were being revealed in those mini directs. In this one, though, I mean, there's something a lot of them we already know about, but there was something I think for everybody in this direct. So with that being said, we're gonna kind of go over some of the bigger titles for you all, and we're gonna discuss those one by one. So the first one that I wanted to go over is Splatoon 3. And let me just kind of pull this up. All right. So this game is going to be just like the other two, except it's going to mostly be in a new zone. So I'm going to read their statement on this. In this new game, you'll leave Inkopolis behind and head to a new region, the Splatlands. Its heart is a new city where battle-savvy Inklings and Octolings gather. Splatsville, also known as the City of Chaos, Splatoon 3 introduces various features to the action shooter series, including weapons such as a bow weapon, customization options, and movement abilities to bring to the returning 4 vs 4 turf war matches. And so yeah, they said they're going to reveal more information about that in the coming. I don't know when, but they're gonna reveal some more. Now, there was one interesting story I wanted to go over first before we start talking about this. So a lot of players noticed that they took out gender in the game, and now they have a select a style. And so, yeah, I saw it at the beginning of the direct, but I didn't really think much of it. But a lot of people notice that, and say what you will. Some people find it controversial. I think that that's just where a lot of games are heading now. I mean, look at Cyberpunk. You could interchange male and female features freely. I just think I don't think it's a big deal. But yeah, what do you guys think about Splatoon 3?
I'm excited. I love Splatoon 2. I didn't play Splatoon 1 on the Wii U, but I have Splatoon 2 on the Switch, and I think it's a great game. Very creative. One of the more creative new IPs that Nintendo has put out in recent years. Unlike ARMS. I mean, ARMS was creative too, but it's just not a good game. On the other hand, Splatoon 2 is a great game. I do hope that they add more to the mechanics. Splatoon was most of the same mechanics from Splatoon 1 reused, just kind of bumped up a bit. I hope Splatoon 3 adds some more to that. But I do like the look of these Splatlands. It kind of reminds me of like this post-apocalyptic sort of like Borderlands type of world, and I want to see how far they can go with that concept. Other than that, yeah, they didn't show a whole lot, so I'm eager to see more.
Okay. Josie, you have any opinion on it?
No, I actually am not a fan of Splatoon. I'm not really interested in the IP, so it's not for me.
Yeah, and you're also not much of a first person shooter player anyways, right? Or a third person shooter player.
It depends on the game, really.
Okay.
But this is more of a multiplayer competitive type, and I don't really play those kinds of games.
Yeah. Yeah, this game is definitely designed for esports.
Yes.
Um Now, John, on what you mentioned about the post-apocalyptic world, there's actually a decent article on Kotaku where someone goes over the world building of Splatoon, and it's supposedly after like a world climate disaster. That's when the game takes place.
Very topical.
Yeah. So that's definitely something that a lot of people notice about the newest update. Um, all right. So next up we have Pira and Mithra um, joining the Smash Bros. Cast. So I didn't play Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and I don't know much about this character, so I was kind of hoping, Josie, you would talk about it. Um, but to me, it seems like when you look at the characters that they add to Smash, um, this character fits in pretty well. But it's another sword character. That's what a lot of people are saying. It's another sword character. Um, but I don't know. I think she looks pretty cool. I mean, what's your opinion on it?
I mean, I was excited as soon as I heard the reveal. If anything, I was intrigued at first because I put like over 300 hours into Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and I was like, "Where's this going? Is this DLC or something?" And then when Pyra turns around, she's like, "I've been invited to Smash." I was like, "Oh, that's awesome!" I haven't been really playing Smash lately. John is the one that's been putting lots of time into it, but I think it's really cool. I think they belong in Smash, and yeah, I don't know. I think if people are complaining about it, then
I think they
it's mostly
complain
because
about.
it's not mostly because it's the character that's coming in. It's the character that they haven't brought in.
Yes.
It's the
Yeah.
character that they want to bring in, like Goku or
Dante.
Sora from Kingdom Hearts
Yeah.
or
They
Dante. Yeah,
complain. They
exactly.
complain. There's people that complain about every character brought into
Yeah,
Smash.
exactly. And Sora and Dante are sword wielders. I mean, yeah, Dante has like, guns and some range stuff, but still. How about you, John?
I haven't played Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I put a little bit of time into Torn of the Golden Country. Is that the right name?
Yes.
Torn of the Golden Country. But yeah, I think she's a cool inclusion. More than the fact that she's in the game, I'm pleased with the fact that they're using this as an opportunity to promote um, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 as a game. The game's only sold like 2 million copies, and it probably deserved to have sold a lot more. So the fact that Nintendo's really kind of pushing this game through their other platforms, I think is a good sign.
Um. Now.
But yeah, she's not a sword character. In fact, she is literally a sword. Isn't that right, Josie?
Oh, well, in the game, it's described that they're all blades. So there's the user,
Mhm.
the actual character that you use, and the blade that they utilize. It's like their companion character, and you can choose between different blades, and there's a multiple characters. So she's not necessarily a sword per se. It's just the designation that they give the character.
So is so. Can you explain? Is that what Mythra is?
What do you, oh, yes.
So
So
Mythra is her sword.
I don't want to go in depth into it because it really is based on the story.
Okay. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So yeah, I still need to play Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition.
When you can do that after you beat Astral Chain.
Okay, dude, you guys keep me playing like. There's so many games I have to beat. It's crazy.
Hey, first of all, you did start Astral Chain, and you just kind of like put it on the wayside.
To beat another game you told me to beat, Death Stranding.
Fair. But you beat Death Stranding,
Yeah,
so
that's
go
true.
back to Astral Chain.
Well, I gotta beat Breath of the Wild first. I owe John Breath of the Wild, so.
No, you don't. Breath of the Wild is much longer. You can beat Astral Chain 3 times over before you beat Breath of the Wild.
How long is Astral Chain? About
It's like
15?
20 hours.
Yeah, 20 hours or less.
Yeah, it's
Dude.
around 20 hours or less.
And then get into Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is at least 70 hours minimum. I put in 230.
Okay. Well, I already started Breath of the Wild, so I'll go back to Astral Train when I'm done. Okay. Next up.
Side note, I want Master Chief in Smash. I want some more Microsoft characters in there. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. Okay. Next up. Skyward Sword HD. So I didn't have a Wii back in the day, so I didn't play this game. But I've read a couple articles of people kind of defending the game, and then other people talking about how it was their most disliked Zelda game, and I wanted to kind of understand that. So basically, Skyward Sword was released on the Wii in 2011, and from my understanding, in the kind of the lore of Zelda or of the universe, it's chronologically at the beginning. Is that true?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Now, the main thing I read about this game that people that there was mixed results, but if you look at the ratings, I think it's mostly accepted as a good game. There was just a lot of people that had some issues with it, and from doing my research, the biggest issue that people had seemed to be the combat system, and it had to do with the way that you held the Wii remotes, and it was hard to slash the sword accurately in certain parts of the game, which led to frustration for the players. Now, to solve this issue, from what I understand, they're, they hope that the Joy-Cons are more accurate. I mean, it's newer technology. The Switch is newer technology. So using the Joy-Cons, you can still, pull up your shield and slash at angles, but it's going to be more accurate than the Wii. And then they're adding a static controller mode for the DS Lite, but also controllers, where the sword angle is now controlled by the right joystick. And so I think you guys probably know more than me because you probably played the game, but I think that should solve the combat issue with the game. I mean, what do you all think?
John?
Yeah, so the motion controls that were the only way to engaging was definitely one of the complaints about that game. But for me, the bigger complaint was how you interacted with the world. It was like a pseudo sort of traditional type of Zelda game, and the other part being what eventually led into what Breath of the Wild became. Like jumping into these, you would fly in the air on these skylofts, your mode of transportation, and then jump into these small little zones, and then you would often have to jump into these zones multiple times to progress the story, and then it kind of got kind of stale at that point. Not to mention you have to fight some of these boss characters multiple times with tiny little changes in between them. But with the new control system, I think it's a good way to incorporate sort of the very directionally specific combat in the game without while including the ability to be played on something like a Switch Lite. I just wonder how they're going to incorporate camera controls when the combat has been relegated to the second joystick or the second Joy-Con. I don't understand how they're going to do that.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point.
3D camera movement is a big it's a big element of the combat itself in Zelda games. So, are they going to just remove 3D combat or camera control entirely? I don't know. that could be problematic.
Well, I mean, in regards to something like the N64, I think they went ahead and well, yeah, you didn't have a secondary camera in the original anyway. I think it's all about Z targeting.
Well, yeah, they had the C buttons. You would use the face buttons to move the camera around. But
Yes, yes.
I don't think it was. It would be.
But Z targeting is what took care of any kind of combat. Like you always be locked onto your characters, and you
Yeah.
needed to be because of the combat system itself. Which I mean that goes again to the issue with the game. Aside from the progression and story, which I had an issue with the story, I thought the art was fantastic. They were trying to do like a watercolor type feel to it. But in terms of combat, Geo, in order to bring it kind of like into some kind of comparison, just think of playing Breath of the Wild for 80 hours doing this all the time for everything, you know? It gets tedious, it's annoying. It's much easier to just press a button than it is to keep flicking your wrist. And it wasn't necessarily one-to-one. It was around the same time they released the Wii Remote Plus. So they were really trying to sell that, like, hey, look, we've improved motion controls. But motion controls are motion controls, and I think people got tired of them.
Yeah.
At least I did.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I read a lot of people's comments on it, and they were like, some people were saying like how they would do boss fights and there was like particular moves where you would have to strike at a certain angle,
Yes.
but they couldn't get it and they would die and it would like completely frustrate them. So
Here's a story. When I went to go ahead and get the Wii, the original Wii on launch night, they had Twilight Princess. And I played Twilight Princess for maybe 5-10 hours, and I returned it and got the Twilight Princess on GameCube instead. So I can play with button controls rather than motion controls.
Okay. Okay.
That's how I feel about it.
Okay. All right. So yeah, there you have it, everyone. It's we'll wait and see if it transitions good to the Switch.
We should also talk about the fact that it's releasing for $60 with minimal changes to the actual game. They're upgrading the frames per second to 60 locked, presumably, 1080p presumably, or I think 1080p is actually confirmed, and some new motion controls or a new combat system for 60.
It should be 4K unlocked.
4K 144 frames per second.
Yeah, exactly. 160
reminder, the game
minimum.
is sold on the Wii U eShop for $20. So, yeah, not my favorite pricing strategy there.
And here's the thing: comparatively speaking to a recent release, which is Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, at least you got extra content, additional content. You know, in this one, you don't really get any new content. You do get another play style. Another comparison is Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. You know, you got Funky Kong and new ways of playing that way. So, I mean, it's kind of par for the course for Nintendo to charge 60, but at the same time, is it really worth it? What do you think, John?
No, absolutely not. If they were to pack in, and this is kind of a point of contention, with the whole direct itself, if they had packed in Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, $60 for sure would be a value, would be a steal. But they only pack in one 10-year-old game with minimal improvements for $60 is doing the opposite. Nintendo's stealing from us.
Yeah, it's not remastered. And here's the thing. That sells itself. Just call it the Triforce Collection. You get these 3 games, boom.
That's a great name for it, too.
Yeah. They would never do that, man.
Per.
Yeah. It's too good. It's too good. All right. So, yeah, you guys...
I did though. I want to make one more addendum to that, and I know John's gonna agree. I did like how Aonuma was like, "Hey everyone, if you played Breath of the Wild, there are some aspects of this game that made it into Breath of the Wild." It's like, yo, if you play Breath of the Wild and you go back to this game, they're not the same. Just a heads up.
You will be disappointed.
You will be disappointed.
Yeah.
But for someone who hasn't played a game like you, George, and if you want to get more acquainted with the Zelda universe, you should probably get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't honestly, I don't have a Wii, so there's no way for me to even buy like a used copy and play the old one.
Wii U.
No.
It was released on the Wii U too. It's $20, like I said.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you guys bring up a lot of great points, and I'm sure you informed a lot of people on it.
Millions.
We're almost at 100 subscribers, by the way.
I mean, that's how it spreads.
Yeah. Okay. So next up, Project Triangle strategy, and I just kind of read through this article on Kotaku talking about the game. But yeah, this game it looks so correct me if I'm wrong. It's done by the same people that did Octopath Traveler?
Correct.
Okay. And it's a Square Enix game, right?
Yes.
And so this game is kind of like Fire Emblem, right? It's like a tactical RPG game.
Well, Fire Emblem's a strategy game. This is more like Final Fantasy Tactics.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a better. So I'm gonna read their description of the game. So the battle takes place on terrain with different elevations, and a character's attack range is determined by their location and their equipped weapon. So it is imperative to survey the battlefield before acting. Additionally, the decisions made will affect how your story unfolds and which characters will join your cause. So, yeah, the one of the big things that I read in that article was kind of talking about how when you talk to different people in the game, you can actually convince them to join your cause. And depending on who you convince or what dialogue you pick, it's going to change the whole story of the game. So I think that's one very interesting feature to the game. Also, the fact that most like turn-based tactical games, they have a set range, but this one is taking into account elevation. So that's also a pretty interesting mechanic. So yeah, I mean, how do you all feel about the game?
Well, I've actually played it.
Oh, you got the demo, right?
No, I have an uncle that works there, so he hooked me up. I played a demo last night and a little bit this morning, and I can tell you that it's something to be excited about for sure. Yeah, it looks great. It runs on the same engine as its predecessor, Octopath Traveler. The gameplay is really fun. I love these type of games, these tactical games. So it'll be a good one to get me back into the genre again. My one issue with it is that, or two issues with it. It's very wordy, extremely wordy. And the battles that kind of punctuate the gameplay that I experienced so far is actually a minority compared to the actual dialogue that takes place. Now, I think this may be partially due to the fact that the game demo drops you like into the middle of the story. But yeah, if they could cut down the wordiness a bit, I think it'll be a better flow from gameplay to actually story progression. Additionally, the character sprites between the enemies and the characters that you control are very kind of when they get really close to each other, they get kind of muddled. So it's kind of hard to distinguish which are the enemies and which are your actual party members.
But did you play on TV or did you play on
handheld? On my Switch handheld mode. But that might have something to do with it too. If I played it on my 65-inch, it might be a difference. But the great thing about these games, or this game, is that just like its predecessor, they're asking for active feedback, so they can implement that feedback into the game if they get enough people kind of commenting that way. So hopefully they kind of iron out some of these issues that I have with it. And but I can tell you, it's a really cool game. I really like the demo.
Okay. Yeah, they said they're gonna release a survey to get everyone's feedback on the demo. So yeah, if you want to like let them know what you think, you should fill out that survey. Josie, do you have any opinions on it?
I personally haven't played the demo, but as soon as I saw it, I was already enamored with it. I like strategy, tactical type games. I love Square Enix games. I still need to play Octopath Traveler, but I'll get to it. It's one of those things, kind of like you and Astral Chain. Um,
Breath of the Wild.
but I agree with everything that John said for the most part, minus the story issues, because literally I just finished playing Persona 5, and if the story is engrossing and engaging and you really get to know these characters and the world, then all the more for it.
Yeah,
So,
I
my
think
wasn't with the story itself, was with the amount of dialogue. You actually spend more time in the demo reading dialogue, lines of dialogue, than actually playing the game itself.
Play Persona.
But Josie and I, when we were watching the direct, we both agreed that this is our most highly anticipated game of the show.
okay.
The one that got us most excited.
I concur.
I hopefully lives up to that promise or that excitement.
Yeah, so I mean, from everything I read, I think that the dialogue is so time consuming because of the fact that your dialogue determines the path of the story. So
The Octopath of the story.
yeah, the octopath of the story. So yeah, I don't know how they would tone it down. Maybe they would have to remove some kind of options or paths, but yeah, it just seems like it's going to be one of those games where the dialogue is super important and you got to pay attention.
I do hope that they change the name of the game before its release.
Change the name?
Yeah, instead of having Project Triangle Strategy working title, just cut it down to Project Triangle Strategy.
Or Project Working Title works for me too.
Yeah, Project Working Title launching 2022.
All right. So next up, we have Monster Hunter Rise. So this article by RPG site, it kind of goes over some things. So two monsters were introduced, Rachna Kadaki and Almurderon. And then there's 5 returning monsters, Basarios, Diablos, Rajang, Rathian, and Volvidon.
I just want to say it's Almudron, not Almurderon.
Yeah. I like Almurderon.
I'm going to be honest, Almurderon is a better name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can use that, Capcom.
Yeah.
2 new areas, the lava caverns and the sandy plains. Additionally, Nintendo is releasing a special edition Switch bundle, and that's $369.99. And they're also selling a Monster Hunter Rise Switch Pro controller as well. Yeah, so I mean, I have this game pre-ordered, so I'm definitely
Really?
Yeah, I do have this game pre-ordered. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. I haven't really beaten a Monster Hunter game, so this is going to be my first one.
Oh, you don't beat Monster Hunter games; they beat you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They beat your schedule. So yeah, I mean, what do you all think about this game? Are you interested in playing this game?
I'm going to speak first, John, because I'm going to say I'm super freaking hyped. Literally, when we were playing Monster Hunter World, John and I would take my PS4 to his place, and we would just TV it up, like right beside each other. It's like online wouldn't do. We needed to be in person and freak out about what was happening in Monster Hunter World.
Right now, LAN party at my house once this drops.
Exactly. Like, it's definitely one of the more fun co-op experiences that I've ever had in a game, and there's a reason why Monster Hunter World has sold so well and gotten so many accolades. It's just a lot of fun, so I'm really, really excited for Monster Hunter Rise.
Okay, great. John?
Yeah, I'm the exact same way. I pre-ordered this game when it was first announced 3 months ago. I was just floored by how they can make a game look this good on the Switch. I think it's one of the better looking games on the Switch. And the gameplay looks fantastic. It incorporates a lot of the quality of life improvements that they implemented in Monster Hunter World, which I think in every way was an improvement over sort of the legacy Monster Hunter games. And I think it's going to be a great game. I love the wire bugs / Spider-Man mechanics that they're adding in. I love the way you can mount and control monsters and have them fight for you. I think it's a really clever progression of the series, and I can't wait.
Yeah. That was one thing that caught my eye, were the Spider-Man mechanics. I think that's going to be pretty cool. And like I said, I didn't play Monster Hunter World, so I don't know much of the improvements that happened in the series. But yeah, you're right. The game looks really good. And it looks really good for being on the Switch.
It is running on the RE engine, which is has proven itself to be a really strong, flexible engine for Capcom.
Yes. Yeah.
Also, as a side note, they did announce that there's a Monster Hunter sort of direct coming in the first week or so of March, and it's going to be running for 3 days. It's like Monster Hunter out of every orifice.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
And they're going to talk about the Monster Hunter. What was it? The side story game coming out.
Oh,
as well?
Stories 2?
Monster Hunter Stories 2, yeah.
Yeah.
Which will be coming out sometime this summer.
Yes. And that one is going to be a handheld game, right?
It's the first one was a 3DS game, but this is going to be a Switch game.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So yeah, I mean, we're all looking forward to Monster Hunter Rise. I mean, it looks awesome. All right. Next up, Miitopia, and I'm covering this because I saw this story, and it just kind of like blew my mind. I didn't know this was a thing, and so if you watch the demo that they play, or the trailer that they played of Miitopia, they made emphasis. So it's basically an RPG game where you customize all the characters using the Mii characters, and so you can pretty much make an RPG with all your friends and family. You can use their Miis. You can make your own, and so they have a relationship system in the game. So there's a picture with 2 Miis, and it says soulmates level 55. So the relationship system in the game allows the characters to work together stronger. The stronger the relationship gets, the better they work together. And I didn't know this, but apparently in Russia, they had a law called the Gay Propaganda Bill. I don't know if that's what it's actually called, but in here. And it was signed by President Putin in 2013. Anything that involves any kind of homosexuality is automatically labeled mature, and parents are urged to keep it away from their kids. And so apparently this happened with The Sims, Stardew Valley, FIFA 17, Overwatch, yeah. So I just thought that was weird. I didn't even know that was a thing in Russia. But the game overall, there's nothing adult about that game. I mean, it's a kid's game through and through. You know what I mean? So I thought that was pretty ridiculous. Me personally, I've never gotten into the Mii's, like the Miiverse or any of that. I never got into that. I didn't. I would take my 3DS around every once in a while to collect people's Mii's. But I mean, what about you guys? Are you gonna try this, or do you just not? Are you like me? You're not interested?
Go ahead, Josie.
Yeah, I'm not gonna try it.
It's a kid's game, right?
I guess it's an RPG with Mii's, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just a and it's like an introductory RPG for children for the most part. But I mean, anyone can play it. It's for all ages.
Yeah, yeah. But there's nothing adult about it.
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah. John, are you gonna play it?
Probably not. On the 3DS, Josie and I played a lot of the that micro me RPG that they included in the game or in the system, as well as collecting tons and tons of street passes. But I think that's sort of where my interest ends. It was fun as a distraction, but I have like a serious backlog of games to play and a serious backlog of games that will be coming out that will be, I think, probably much more worth my time. So, nah, not for me.
Okay. All right. All right. So next up, we have Bravely Default 2. So I found this article and I thought it was interesting. So I wanted to kind of talk about it. But essentially, Bravely Default 2, it's the third game in the series, right?
Yes.
So it's coming out on February 26th. So it's coming out real soon. Now, this is something I didn't know because I only played the first one. And I wasn't keeping up on this game too much. But I definitely want to play it because I love the first one. I didn't play Second Layer. But apparently the game is changing its battle system to a more fluid system so I'm going to read this statement, okay? And this is by producer Masashi Takahashi. It became clear to us that this would be something you would have to kind of be thinking ahead in really making sort of complicated guesswork if you had this order of actions display in the game. That would make things more complicated than we wanted them to be. So we ended up removing that prior to releasing the first demo of the game. So basically what he was saying was the original game had a turn-based combat approach. You know, it's a classical RPG. And they took that out. So after they took it out, a lot of players complained. They were saying like, why'd you take out the turn-based combat system? You know, why'd you make it this fluid system? And basically the fluid system relies more on like speed buffs, debuffs, you know, if your character's fast, stuff like that. And he's saying that the turn-based system made it harder for them. And then when they released the demo, people complained, and then he said, no, we're just going to keep it this way. So I don't know if you guys had heard about that. But yeah, I mean, what do you all think about it?
In the end, you're saying they kept the original system from the first game?
No, they decided not to do turn-based. They just kept it the way that they had it already that people didn't like. They decided not to listen to the players and they just kept it the way they had it in demo.
Okay, well, I haven't played the demo, but I thought the first battle system in the first one, which I played a lot of, but haven't quite beaten it yet. I thought that was a really sort of nice or cool twist on the traditional turn-based format. I'm not sure what they're doing with this new one, but I was hoping that they just would have maybe kept the first system, but maybe tweaked it a little bit to make it to kind of differentiate it a little bit. So I don't know. There is a demo out for this game, so maybe I'll check it out before I make a final judgment. But yeah,
yeah, this is news to me. I actually haven't heard of this at all, and I beat and played the first one. The second one I was planning on playing after beating Persona 5 like last week, but I started playing Final Fantasy 14.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, we talked about that. We talked about that.
Yeah, we talked about it last week.
We talked about that.
And I'm really busy crafting in Final Fantasy 14, so
dude, play it up, man. Play it up.
I mean, it's a lot of fun. I love it. So, you know, you can't complain there, but I do want to play Bravely Second End Layer. And the thing is that there is a demo for that, which is actually has story content that is applicable to the actual game. So you got to play the demo before you play the actual game.
And they did that with the
Um,
first one too, right? If I
correct.
recall. Okay.
Correct. And they had things that could affect the actual game. You could actually collect villagers for your town. And the more villagers you had, I forget what boons you got, but it was something really beneficial to the game. Anyways,
I put in 40 hours into the first game's demo. More,
yeah.
more than I played in any other demo. It was that good.
Yeah,
It
it was
was
a lot of
very
fun.
good. It was very good.
And commenting on the battle system, it does get to a point, I think, sooner than most JRPGs where it can be pretty broken and you can kind of play it on autopilot. At least that's what happened with me. I was able to get to that point pretty quickly, and I enjoyed the game a lot, but I did break it pretty quickly. So it was kind of a cakewalk, even though I played it for however many hours.
Okay.
So I still need to play Bravely Second, which a lot of people are like, Bravely Second, Bravely Default 2. Bravely Second is in terms of time, just to clarify.
Yeah.
So it's like minutes, seconds, and it's a movement that you do within the game. But I mean, I'm still excited for Bravely Default 2, but I am really interested. I don't understand how you explained the battle system. I don't know what this fluid battle system is. Like, can you explain it a little bit further in terms of what that is? If it's not turn-based, then what is it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I haven't played the demo, so I'm just going off of this description in this story. So
Gotcha.
maybe I'm butchering it, but essentially, uh, the character's attack speed, like when they can attack. So there is a timer, right? But instead of it being like, okay, your timer's up, you can go now, whatever, and then you know how you would have the
It's like an active time battle.
yeah, it's an active time battle, and
because
but
because because the entire foundation of the game is the default system, the Brave
exactly,
default system,
ex-
which is going to be turn-based. Like you can't do that in a real time
y-
system, I think.
yeah. So I don't know, I don't understand either because I didn't play the demo, but apparently it's an active time battle system now. It's not turn based anymore. So
Well, turn-based and active time battle are somewhat the same. Active time battle is just like you have this period of time to to take an action, and you
Okay.
have to do
yeah,
it within that certain period of time. But it's still like your turn. But the enemy is still moving regardless if you do anything within that time period or not.
yeah. Technically, they're just different ways of doing the same
Turn-based.
thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, but from what I read in the article, people didn't like the change,
Hmm.
and they just opted not. They just opted to keep it because he was saying that the way they did it in the original, and maybe that's why you broke the combat in the original. Because basically, he was saying the way they did it in the original was so hard for them to plan ahead in the combat system
Yes.
that they couldn't keep tabs on it. So maybe that's why they changed it because it was just too hard for them to think ahead of issues with the combat system, and maybe that's probably why you broke the combat system and turned it into autopilot. So I don't know.
I mean, if it makes the combat more engaging and gives it more of a challenge, I welcome
Yeah.
it. I think
Okay.
that sounds cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Some people didn't like it, but for all we know, we might like the change. So we'll have to wait and see.
I mean,
But
I pre-ordered it
actually,
from Best Buy, and
yeah.
they have a placemat.
Oh,
So just so you know,
okay.
if you want to pre-order from Best Buy because they have a placemat. This is not
Okay.
sponsored.
Okay. Um, actually, no. John brought up a good point. You can play the demo now. So play the demo. See if you like the combat system.
And the demo probably carries over to the actual game itself. So
Yeah.
it's a prelude. You should play it.
Okay. So next up, we have Ninja Gaiden Master Collection. Now, I was kind of excited when I saw this. So, and the reason I was is because it's releasing on Steam. So I'm gonna be able to play these on my PC. So basically, the Ninja Gaiden Master Collection will be releasing on 10 June this year. It will be releasing on PS4, Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, and Steam. I assume it's not coming to they're not going to have PS5 and Xbox Series X versions because they probably had already started on the ports, and these are not like massive upgrades by any means. They look almost like they're just straight ports. I don't notice any like major upgrades. And it's going to include Ninja Gaiden Sigma, Sigma 2, and Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge. So yeah, I mean, I want to play these on PC, so I thought it was pretty cool. Did you guys have any opinions on it?
I'm not particularly excited about it. I played Ninja Gaiden on Xbox, and that's it.
Yeah,
And obviously the NES originals, but
yeah. I played them on Xbox too.
I'm not too excited, mostly because these are in my opinion, the inferior Sigma versions.
Mm-hmm.
Ninja Gaiden 1, Ninja Gaiden Black on the Xbox, they removed the gore for Sigma, and they removed a lot of the puzzle elements within the game, and they added kind of some. I mean, they're short, granted, but these Rachel moments in the first game in Sigma, they just don't do anything to enhance the gameplay experience. I think it was more well balanced and true to the actual vision of the creator for Ninja Gaiden Black. And then Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2, that is just a vicious game. And again, they took away the gore. These are all like kind of like toned down versions of Ninja Gaiden.
Okay.
So I think in PC there'll be mods to bring it back to like that black caliber of Ninja Gaiden. I have not played Razor's Edge. I haven't heard too many good things about it. I do own it. I need to play it.
Okay.
But will I play it on this version? I don't know. I mean, I already own the Xbox 360 version, so I could always just play it on my Xbox Series X. And like you said, there doesn't look to be much of any kind of improvement, even in the advertisement that you just put up. There was nothing like, ooh, in stunning HD, running at whatever, blah blah blah. It like when I saw it in the Nintendo Switch, it looked like, oh wait a second, this looks like how it looked when I was on the Vita.
Yeah.
So straight port. I don't want to say it's lazy, but it looks like it.
Yeah. So, and that's why I brought up the PC part, because to me the only interesting part is that it's going to be on PC now, and which you said the golden word, mods.
Yep.
So yeah, that's probably it. Now, I also have Ninja Gaiden Black on my Xbox as well. So I played it. I didn't beat it, but now that you mention it, I should probably just beat that.
Oh yeah, it's one of my favorite
Yeah.
like action games of all time. And that Ninja Gaiden 2, even though Ninja Gaiden 2 had one of the worst cameras, and you will die because of the camera, but it's just a vicious, awesome game. And when it's kind of like that, what's it called? That sense of accomplishment. As soon as you beat it, you're like, yes, freaking. and you always feel like a ninja because Ryu Hayabusa.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So last up, this has nothing to do with the Nintendo Direct, but I had to cover it. Diablo II Resurrected was announced. So they started the BlizzCon online yesterday, and this came up. And obviously they announced, they released a trailer for a new class for Diablo IV, the Rogue. So they're releasing these in tandem, and I mean, Blizzard lately has been doing that kind of, like they released WoW Classic Edition with like kind of before an expansion, and so it's not unusual for them to release like two games in the same universe at once. I haven't seen other developers do that really, but they seem to do it. So This is going to be a full remake. So here you can see this is before and this is after. And so it's running on a new engine. And I believe, don't quote me, but I believe it's going to be running on the same engine as Diablo 4. So it's going to feel like Diablo 4, but it's going to be Diablo 2. And
Or it's going to look like Diablo 4.
yeah, it's gonna look and play in the sense of like performance like Diablo 4, but it's gonna be Diablo 2. So it's releasing in 2021. Like I said, fully remastered gameplay. It's gonna stay very true to the original. So same story, same characters, same mechanics. And then they're adding in a upgraded network play. So you're going to be able to play it online on BattleNet, but it's going to be all new netcode, which is good. You don't want to reuse netcode for a different older version. And then it's going to release on Windows, Switch, PS4, PS5, and Xbox Series X.
Where's the Mac?
Mac always gets left out. And so here's the interesting thing. They said that you're going to be... also here, for people that want to... I already signed up for this. They have a tech alpha opt-in, so you can sign up to participate in their tech alpha version of the game. So, yeah, I'm excited, but I'm also hesitant because of what happened to Warcraft 3 Reforged. That was a disaster. But I don't know. From what I can see, it looks good, and the fact that they're doing it on the same engine as Diablo 4, I don't think they would do that if they expected any kind of backlash. So, and also they're going to have cloud saves between all the different devices. So if you play it on your PC, but then you go travel and you take your Switch, all your progression is stored in the cloud, and it's all accessible between devices. So, yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. I don't know about you guys. Any of you Diablo players?
So I played a lot of Diablo 1 on probably my first PC ever, way back when. But when Diablo 2 came out, the hot thing at the time was PC cafes.
Yep.
And I would always go to PC cafes with my friends to play, other games, StarCraft,
Counter-Strike.
Some various other games. But Diablo
Chess.
2 didn't really do for me. I would just kind of be on the sidelines playing my own thing when my friends would play that game. So I'm not really excited for this game. I won't be getting it. I know that for a fact. But however, I have seen the trailer for the Rogue character in Diablo 4, and I must say it did kind of wet my whistle a bit. If it comes out on PS5, there's a chance I might look into that. But as for Diablo 2, nah.
Okay. Josie?
Yeah, I've never played a Diablo game.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just not my kind of game.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it looks cool.
I hope for your sake it's not a Warcraft 3 Reforged situation.
Yeah, man, I was so hyped for Warcraft 3 Reforged, and then I didn't buy it because my friends who are die-hard Blizzard gamers were like, don't play it. Because I rebought and played the original one for months leading up to the release, and then I was just like, oh my god, like, how can they do this to people? I was so upset about that. We had an episode about that.
Yeah.
So, but me personally, I'll probably wait until the Diablo 2 remaster goes on sale. But I'm definitely gonna get Diablo 4 for sure. I'm gonna get Diablo 4.
Did you enjoy Diablo 3?
Yeah, so I played Diablo 3 and I played it for a while. And then it just got repetitive, and so here's the thing. There was a lot of issues with Diablo 3. They didn't add multiplayer until much later. They released the game unfinished. They didn't add multiplayer till later. The story wasn't as long as people wanted, so you would keep grinding the same story over and over again. And the whole situation with the marketplace was a disaster too. So Diablo 3 had a lot of issues. I did play it for like a couple months after it came out, and then I was just like, the game's not done, so I quit and I never went back. Yeah, I did play it. And
Are you gonna not make the same mistake with Diablo 4? You're gonna wait?
Well, here's the thing. Diablo 4 is different. Diablo 4 is different because
That's how it is.
I know.
That's how it is for any abusive relationship. It's gonna be different this time.
I know, but it's like Diablo 3 was its whole new type of Diablo, right? Yes, it was a Diablo game. It played like a Diablo game, but it looked different. Like they changed the visuals. It was more vibrant.
It looked more like World of Warcraft.
Yeah. But Diablo 4 is hearkening back to the style of Diablo 1 and 2.
That darker,
Yes.
edgier.
Exactly. So that's what I think a lot of people are excited for, and that's what I'm looking forward to. So
What about that Diablo on mobile?
man, I'm not even going to talk about that.
I hear it's good.
One of those AFK games.
Look, I'm sure some people like it and enjoy it, but I'm not going to play it. So yeah. That's it. Actually, yeah, there is one last thing.
Are you trolling us? That's what Nintendo does. And the
Yeah, one last thing.
No. You guys wanted to talk about Mario Golf.
You're such a jerk.
All right, so John, why don't you give us some details on this game?
I don't know anything about this game. What is Mario? No, this is a Mario sports game in the Mario Golf series. I think it's coming out this summer, I believe, right?
Let's see. It released
June
June 25th.
Yeah, so it has like like most other Mario sports games, they're gonna have like the simmy sort of gameplay as well as the arcade gameplay. They added this new mode called, I think, Speed Rush, which looks like a lot of fun. And as far as like sports games, I'm not a sports game fan, generally speaking, but I do enjoy Mario sports games. This is something that is in my maybe sort of pile. We'll see how it turns out. The last Mario sports game I had or purchased was Mario Tennis Aces, which was a really good game mechanically, but kind of bare bones in terms of features. So if they're going to put a $60 price tag on a game like that, they really need to make it sort of worth it. And I think Mario Tennis Aces would have been much more palatable if it was a little bit of a lesser, smaller price. But mechanically, like I said, the game was really good for tennis as a tennis game. And I expect Mario Golf technically to be a really good golf game. But we'll see if they kind of pad it out with some with compelling single player, with a compelling single player campaign. And obviously it needs solid online if you're going to have a game that you play with people online. So we'll see.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of with you on the fact that like I'm not a big sports game player, and I definitely haven't been keeping up with Mario sports games. But yeah, the rush mode looks pretty cool actually. And yeah, I'm probably not gonna get it, but these types of games, they do look fun, and I'm sure a lot of people enjoy them. Now that being said, that's the last story. As you can see, Josie is in a perpetual smile. I think he's
I don't know why I'm frozen.
He's overwrought with joy.
I'm super excited for Diablo.
Oh, there you go. You started moving again. What happened?
Right when you mentioned Diablo, it means
Speak of the devil.
So yeah, we're having some technical issues, but anyways, yeah, that's the episode for this week, everyone. I just kind of wanted to like bring John in since he knows so much about Nintendo games, and yeah, John, thanks for coming.
Thank you, John.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me, guys.
and that's it. What'd you say?
I said, where's Metroid Prime 4?
Oh, yes.
30th anniversary, Nintendo. Get it together.
Yes, please. Everyone's asking for a new Metroid game. All right. So that's it for this week. Looks like Josie's scowling now. He's perpetually scowling now.
Josie never change. Literally.
This is how I feel on the inside.
But yeah, thanks everyone for joining us. We appreciate it, and yeah, we're about to reach 100 subs. So thanks everyone who's subbed, and if you haven't subbed yet, please sub. And yeah, we'll see you all next time.
Take care and keep on gaming.
Peace.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to this episode of Games I Speak. If you liked the episode, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you all next time.